I'm 26 years old, working as graphic designer from home mostly. Started doing yoga about a year ago for back pain. Found a studio near my apartment with good reviews online. Been going to classes 3 times a week, enjoying it. Studio is small, independent place owned by a woman named Sage. She is maybe 35 years old, very into spiritual wellness. Classes are good, and she knows poses and proper form. Studio has about 30 regular students, mix of men, women. Classes are usually about 15 people with 4 or 5 men. Everyone is respectful, focused on their own practice during class. Never any issues, just people trying to improve their flexibility. Sage has always been professional, welcoming to everyone who shows. Been coming here for 8 months, made good progress with back. My posture is better, and I do not have pain. Several students have noticed my improvement and asked for tips. Feel like part of a community here, which is nice. One day I show up for my usual evening class. Sage's at front desk seems different, more serious than usual. She's rearranging schedule board, adding new class descriptions there. Notice she added new label that says women only sacred space. Ask her about it and she says making some changes. Says she has been studying divine feminine energy and sacred sisterhood. Says she wants spaces where women practice without male energy. I ask if that means men cannot come to certain classes. She says yes. She is designating some classes women only now. Says women need spaces to connect with feminine power without interference. Says male energy can be disruptive even when men well-intentioned. I ask which classes are women only, and she points. Half the classes on schedule now have women only designation, including the Tuesday, Thursday evening classes I usually attend regularly here. Ask if there are any evening classes left that allow men. She says there are few, but they are different times. Tell her those times do not work with my schedule. She says it is about creating balance, honoring divine feminine. Says women have been excluded from spaces for centuries. So equity, I say excluding men from classes they paid for is discrimination. She gets defensive. Says men have plenty of other yoga studios. Says this is about women's needs and I am making about myself. Says if I cannot understand, maybe this studio not right for me. I leave frustrated, but decide to try the other class times. Talk to my friend Rachel, who also goes to studio regularly. She says Sage mentioned the changes to women in her class. Says she told them it would be nice without male gaze. Rachel says she does not really care, but some women excited. Ask Rachel if she thinks it is fair to exclude members. She says she sees both sides, but understands wanting women's space. Says maybe it is not that big deal, and I should adjust. Feel like nobody is seeing that this is actual discrimination happening. Go to Saturday morning class that still allows men to attend. There are only 3 men, including me, and about 12 women. Sage teaches, but her energy toward men feels cold and unwelcoming. She corrects our form more harshly than she does with women. Notice she uses softer tone when helping women adjust their poses, but with men, she is more abrupt critical about our alignment. One guy asks a question she barely answers before moving on. Feel like she is trying to make us uncomfortable. So, leave. After class, I talk to another guy named Jeremy, coming for years. He says Sage has changed a lot in past few months. Says she used to treat everyone the same, but now favors women. Says several men have already stopped coming because they feel unwelcome. Jeremy says he is probably going to find another studio soon. Says he does not want to give money to someone who dislikes men. Ask him if he considered complaining and he says what his point. Says she owns the place, can do what she wants, apparently. Think about what he said and wonder if she really can. Start researching discrimination laws and public accommodation rules in my state. Find that businesses open to public cannot discriminate based on sex. Yoga studios that serve general public fall under these laws. Clearly, few weeks go by and Sage adds more women-only classes. Now, about 75% of classes are designated women-only space. The remaining classes for everyone are at inconvenient times like 6 a.m., clearly trying to push men out without explicitly banning us from studio. Another guy named Marcus stops coming after being turned away. He had signed up online, but Sage told him women only. He said the website did not indicate that when he registered, she told him to read the schedule more carefully next time. I show up for one of few remaining mixed classes Wednesday. Sage stops me at door and says this class now women only. Point to schedule board that still says it is open to everyone. She says she just decided to change it and I need leave. Tell her I paid for monthly membership. She keeps limiting my access. She says I can get refund if not happy with new direction. Says the studio is evolving. Not everyone will resonate with energy. Basically telling me to leave because I am man and she wants men gone. Asked to speak with owner and she says she is owner. So tell her what she is doing. Is discrimination based on sex which illegal? She says women only spaces are not discrimination. They are empowerment healing. Says men have had everything forever. Women deserve their own spaces now. Tell her that logic does not make it legal to exclude paying members. She says I'm being aggressive and proving why male energy toxic. Says I need to leave immediately or she will call the police. I leave before it escalates, but I'm furious about being kicked. One of the women in class follows me out and apologizes quietly. Says she thinks what Sage is doing is wrong and not fair. Says several other women feel same but do not want to speak up. Thank her for saying something, but tell her it should not be. Go home and call the studio. Next day asking to speak Sage. She answers and I ask for full refund since I cannot access. She says she already told me I could get refund if not happy. I say I want it in writing that she is refusing me access. She gets annoyed and says she is not refusing access, just creating balance. I say she is excluding men from 75% of classes, which discrimination. She hangs up on me and sends email saying my membership is canceled. Email says refund will be processed and I'm no longer welcome at studio. The email also says studio is moving toward being women-centered space. Says men who cannot respect that are not aligned with studio values. Says my aggressive communication style is exactly why women need safe spaces. Basically calling me aggressive for asking about my membership rights legally. Forward the email to a lawyer friend named Tyler and ask if keys. He reads it and says yes. This is clear-cut. Sex discrimination under law. Says businesses open to public cannot exclude people based on protected characteristics. Says I should file complaint with State Civil Rights Commission immediately. Spend the weekend documenting everything that happened over past few months. Screenshot the schedule showing women-only classes taking over the whole board. Save the email where she can my membership and banned me from studio. Write timeline of how she systematically excluded men from more and more classes. File formal complaint with Civil Rights Commission on Monday morning, detailing everything. Include all my evidence showing pattern of discrimination against men at studio. Include her statements about male energy being disruptive as proof of intent. Include cancellation email where she admits I am not welcome anymore there. Few days later, I get confirmation that commission received my complaint and investigating. They assign investigator to look into the allegations of sex discrimination here. Investigator calls me to get more details about what happened over time. I explain the gradual escalation from some women-only classes to almost all. Investigator says they will send someone to studio posing as potential customer. Will try to sign up for classes and document if men are excluded. Also, will interview other students to see if they witnessed the discrimination. Says investigation will take few weeks, but they will keep me updated. Meanwhile, Sage posts on social media about creating sacred feminine space at studio. Talks about how important it is for women to have places without energy. Says divine feminine cannot flourish when masculine energy is present in room. Several people comment asking if that means men are not allowed anymore. She responds saying men are welcome, but most classes are women only. Now says men can attend the few mixed classes if they really want to. One person comments that sounds like discrimination and she blocks them immediately. Deletes any comments questioning her approach and only leaves supportive ones. Few weeks later, investigator contacts me saying they completed their investigation here. Says they sent someone to studio who confirmed men are turned away. Says they interviewed several current and former students who confirm pattern of discrimination. Says they found probable cause that Sage violated state public accommodation laws. Commission sends Sage official notice of violation with their findings included. Orders her to immediately stop excluding men from classes based on gender. orders her to allow me and other men access to all classes paid for. Also orders her to provide compensation for the discrimination we experienced. Sage receives the notice and posts angry message on social media about it. Says she is being persecuted by patriarchy for creating women-only space. Says the commission is tool of oppression trying to force men into spaces. Says she will not comply because divine feminine energy must be protected. Her followers on social media encourage her to fight back and resist. Tell her she is doing important work and should not let them silence. Some suggest she close the studio rather than let men contaminate the space. She likes all these comments and says she is considering her options. Commission sees her social media posts saying she will not comply with order. Sends follow-up letter saying continued violation will result in escalation of case. Warns that her business license could be reviewed if she refuses to follow. Says she has 30 days to come into compliance or face additional consequences. Sage ignores the deadline and continues running women-only classes anyway. Posts more on social media about not backing down to patriarchal oppression. Says her studio is sacred space and she will not let men contaminate. Includes photos of her classes with captions about divine feminine sisterhood energy. I see her posts and realize she has no intention of complying. Contact the commission and let them know she is still violating order. They say they are aware and have escalated case to business licensing review. Say her refusal to comply means her business license is now in jeopardy. Another man named Isaiah contacts me saying he also filed complaint against. Says she canceled his membership after he complained about women-only classes. Says he is glad someone is finally holding her accountable for discrimination. We compare notes and realize our experiences are almost identical with her. Marcus also reaches out saying he filed complaint after being turned away. Says he felt humiliated when she refused him entry in front of people. Says it is not right that she can exclude men just for being. Commission is building a pattern case with multiple victims of her discrimination. Local news station hears about the case and reaches out for interview. They want to do story about yoga studio discriminating against men here. I agree to interview because I want people to know what she's doing. They also reach out to Sage, who enthusiastically agrees to defend herself. News crew comes to my apartment and I explain what happened. Steps show them the emails and schedules, screenshots showing the discrimination clearly. Explain that I just wanted to do yoga for my back pain. Say I support women having communities, but not through illegal discrimination. They go to the studio and interview Sage, who says women need spaces. Says yoga is about feminine divine power and men cannot access that energy. Says she is being persecuted for creating healing space for women and sisters. Says men have everything else and cannot handle women having one thing. News segment airs and immediately goes viral online, getting shared everywhere. Comments are divided between people supporting her and people saying she broke. Men share stories of being discriminated against in similar ways at other places. Women debate whether women-only spaces should be allowed in public businesses. Studio Google reviews get flooded with one-star reviews from people who saw men leaving reviews saying they were discriminated against and turned away unfairly. Women leaving 5-star reviews supporting Sage for creating women-only sacred space. Studio rating drops from 4.88 stars to 2.3 stars in matter of days. Sage responds to every negative review personally defending her discriminatory practices. Says male fragility is showing in comments section from insecure men clearly. Says men cannot handle women having anything for themselves without invading it. Says the negative reviews prove exactly why women-only spaces are needed. Some of her longtime female students start leaving negative reviews too, though. Say they love the studio, but Sage took things too far with exclusion. Say they feel uncomfortable being part of place that discriminates against people. Say yoga should be inclusive and welcoming, not divisive and discriminatory like this. City Business Licensing Department gets involved after seeing news coverage and complaints. They review her business license application, which says studio is open to public. Review commission findings that she discriminated against men, systematically based on gender. Schedule hearing to determine if her business license should be suspended or revoked. Sage gets notice of the hearing and posts that system is trying silence, says patriarchy cannot handle women having power, so they attack with bureaucracy, says she will fight this and not let them shut down her space. Her supporters organize protests outside City Hall for day of the hearing. Day of hearing arrives and about 20 women are outside protesting with signs. Signs say things like, "Women deserve safe spaces and divine feminine under attack." They chant about patriarchy, trying to silence women and take their spaces. Local news covers the protest, which gives Sage even more attention for cause. Inside the hearing room, Sage shows up with a lawyer who argues women legal, cites examples of women-only gyms and clubs that operate legally in places. Licensing board explains those operate under specific exemptions that do not apply here. Says Sage's studio is public accommodation without exemption status for women-only operation. Board presents evidence from Civil Rights Commission showing pattern of discrimination against men. Shows emails where Sage canceled memberships of men who complained about exclusion. Shows social media posts where she said men contaminate the sacred feminine space. Shows testimony from multiple men who were turned away from classes they paid. Sage's lawyer argues she has right to create women-centered businesses owner. Bohr explains that right ends where discrimination law begins for public businesses. Says she cannot advertise as open to public, then exclude people-based sex. Asks if she understands the difference between private club and public accommodation. Sage interrupts her lawyer and says she will not compromise her values. Says allowing men into her classes would destroy everything she built for women. Says divine feminine energy cannot exist when masculine energy is present in room. Says she would rather close the studio than allow men to contaminate space. Board members look at each other and one asks if she refusing comply. She says yes, she is refusing because this is about something bigger than sellers. Says this is about women having spaces and she will not back down. Her lawyer tries to interject, but she waves him off and continues talking. Says the patriarchy has controlled everything for thousands of years and enough is enough. Says women need to take back their power and create spaces without men. Says she is willing to be martyr for this cause if necessary for change. Board gives her one more chance to commit to following non-discrimination laws. She says no. She will not allow men into her women-only classes. Says they can revoke her license, but she will find another way. Continue. Says the divine feminine cannot be stopped by patriarchal bureaucracy and rules. Board discusses privately for a few minutes while hearing rooms quietly. They come back and chair announces they are revoking her business license immediately. Says her refusal to comply with civil rights laws leaves them no choice. Says she can reapply for license in future if she agrees. Follow all laws. Sage stands up and yells that they are tools of patriarchy destroying women's spaces. Her supporters in the gallery start chanting and disrupting the hearing loudly. Security has to clear the room and escort several people out who refuse. Sage is yelling about discrimination against women as they escort her out too. Her lawyer looks embarrassed and apologizes to Board for the disruption today. Outside the building, Sage does impromptu press conference with her supporters there. Says she was shut down for refusing to let men invade women healing space. Says this is proof that patriarchy will destroy anything women try to build. Says she is victim of discrimination for standing up for women and rights. News coverage is extensive with clips of her yelling at Board going viral. Some people support her and say she is standing up for what believes. Most people say she broke the law and faced consequences for discriminating against. Legal experts on news explain why public businesses cannot exclude based on sex. Few days later, studio has closed down completely with locks on door signs. Sign on door says temporarily closed pending legal review, but everyone knows done. Her social media posts eulogy for the studio blaming patriarchy for destroying it. Says she will rise again and create new space where women can free. I get message from commission saying they are processing compensation for discrimination faced, will receive refund of my membership fees, plus additional damages for violation rights. Not a huge amount, but principle matters more than money in this case. More importantly, the case established precedent that yoga studios cannot discriminate legally. Several other yoga studios in area that were considering women-only classes abandoned plans. They saw what happened to Sage and do not want same legal problems. One studio owner reaches out asking my advice on how to stay compliant. Tell her just treat everyone equally regardless of gender, and you'll be fine. Jeremy and Marcus also get compensation from commission for discrimination they experienced. We all meet up for coffee and talk about the whole situation back. Jeremy says he knew it would end badly, but did not expect this drama. Marcus says he is glad someone finally held her accountable for breaking law. Rachel from the studio messages me apologizing for not supporting me earlier. Says she did not realize how serious it was until she saw discrimination. Says she feels bad for Sage, but understands she brought this on herself. Says she found a new studio that treats everyone equally and likes better. Few months later, Sage announces she is reopening as Private Membership Club Women. Says by operating as private club, she can legally exclude men from membership. Finds new space, but rent is much higher than previous location was originally. Opens with much smaller membership base of maybe 20 women instead of 100. Her new private club operates legally, but makes fraction of money she made. She has to charge much higher membership fees to cover the expensive rent. Some of her former students join, but most have moved on to studios. She posts that it is worth it to have pure feminine space without energy. Think about how she destroyed her successful business because of ideology and discrimination. She had thriving studio with loyal students of all genders making good money. Threw it all away because she could not handle men being in classes. Her feminism convinced her that excluding men was righteous when it was illegal. She lost her business license, her reputation, her income, and most of students, all because she refused to follow basic non-discrimination laws for public businesses. Now she operates tiny private club, making fraction of what she made before, and she still thinks she is victim in situation instead of perpetrator. The women who supported her discrimination lost their convenient yoga studio too. Her ideology hurt them by getting place shut down completely and permanently. If she had just followed the law, everyone could have continued practicing there. But she had to make it about gender war and discrimination instead. Some of her former students reached out apologizing for how I was treated. Say they loved the studio, but knew excluding men would eventually cause problems. Say they wish Sage had been more reasonable instead of going to extremes. Now they have to find new studios because hers got shut down discrimination. Isaiah tells me he ran into Sage at coffee shop few months later. She saw him and turned around and walked out without ordering anything. He says she clearly still sees herself as victim and men as oppressors. Says some people never learn from their mistakes. They just blame everyone else. Year later, and Sage is still running her tiny private club, barely making ends. Posts constantly on social media about how patriarchy destroyed her business completely. Takes zero responsibility for discriminating and breaking the law repeatedly herself. Still sees herself as victim instead of acknowledging she caused her own downfall. She tries to position herself as yoga instructor who stood up women's rights. Does interviews with feminist publications about being shut down for empowering women. Leaves out the part where she illegally discriminated against men and refused comply. Rewrites history to make herself like martyr instead of perpetrator of discrimination. Her former students who moved on are doing fine at other studios area. They found places that welcome everyone equally, regardless of their gender identity. Many say their new studios are actually better because they are more inclusive. Say they realize now that Sage's approach was wrong and not real philosophy. I still do yoga regularly at new studio that treats everyone with respect. My back pain never came back, and I am more flexible than ever. Never think about Sage or her discrimination unless someone brings it up. Moved on with my life while she is stuck being bitter about consequences. Sometimes creating women-only spaces through discrimination destroys what you built entirely. Sometimes refusing to follow the law costs you your business license and livelihood. Sometimes ideology blinds you to fact that you are discriminating and breaking law. And sometimes yoga instructor who kicks out men gets crushed when reality shows.
If this confession kept you hooked, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. We share powerful true stories every day that explore the complex realities of life.